You know how many swears I had to bleep out?
Oh yeah, you know what? That episode was really bad. Like it was. So I'm not saying that it. So I'm not saying that you were bad. I'm just saying the episode was bad.
Oh yeah.
Right. And really anybody involved with it, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, it was certainly an episode that was posted of our show.
Sure. Well, thank you for that.
If you can say anything about that episode, it's that it was in fact posted to the internet.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't a full episode. It was kind of our transitional episode 50 and a half to serve as a transitional post between our old name, Unqualified, a video game podcast, and our new name, Unqualified Gamers.
So you're saying that we can't even call it an episode? So then really we can't say anything about whatever it was that you posted.
It's on our iTunes feed.
Are you sure we can say that?
Yes.
Okay, so we can say that then. It's on our iTunes feed. That's impressive.
I can confidently say that we put a thing on our iTunes feed.
Onto the internet. So, in all seriousness, which, listener, you probably couldn't tell, I wasn't being serious. I actually thought you did a very good job of covering on your own. And you go on some incredible tangents when you are allowed to talk. It is pretty awesome. It's pretty epic.
Well, thank you.
No, they're good. I mean, they weren't. You go on tangents in a good way. It's not like it's a bad thing. So yeah, I was impressed. I listened to the whole thing. It may be the first episode of our show that I've ever listened to. Quite good.
I would say it's definitely the first episode you fully listened to. Did you?
I give it a firecracker out of cat.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that, and I'll leave it there. And I'll leave it there. Are you gonna leave it there with me?
It's gone. It's behind me.
Okay.
So what's new?
Well, hi, listener. This is Unqualified Gamers, episode 51. I'm Cody. I'm the unqualified part, and John's the gamer part. Is that how that works?
No, we are both unqualified gamers. Is how it works.
Okay, so we're both half unqualified, and we're both half gamers. Is that
no? We are totally unqualified.
Okay,
and we are also gamers.
Oh, so
we're 100% of both.
Well, why didn't we call the show double
unqualified gamers?
Or double unqualified gamers? I don't know.
Double unqualified double gamers.
Which you could then abbreviate to DUG. We could be the Doug cast.
It's pretty good.
And then if we ever excavate anything, we could be the Dig Dug cast. Which
it's pretty not good anymore.
It's really hard to say without over enunciating, isn't it? The Dig Dug cast.
So yeah, you found your way to a video game podcast, as you can tell, listener. Yeah. So thank you once again for joining us. I'm John.
Yeah, and you're sick.
I'm equally unqualified. Like I said, I have turned the corner. I am on the men.
You're on the men.
No, I'm on the men.
So, I mean, I don't know what being on men has to do with getting better, but if that's
on the men.
Yeah, if that's your trick to recovery, then more power to you. It's 2013. Bless you. I think.
No, it was a cough. So we've hit that stupid stage, and I don't know what happens when you like get a cold or a sinus infection or stuff like that. But I've hit that point where I get that cough, and so the actual sickness, lasted from somewhere like a week to 10 days. And it was never like debilitating to the point where I couldn't leave the house, but it was just annoying and like my throat hurt and everything. But then I got like towards the last 4 days of the sickness, I developed that cough, and the cough will now last throughout the entire winter, I bet.
Really?
So yeah. So I've hit this shitty area of the sickness now where I'm going to cough for the rest of my life. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm on the mend.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I won't make you, because we all know I make you do this podcast. We've established that.
It's true.
So I won't make you talk too much, but did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It was unfortunately like the first night I started getting sick, so I left Thanksgiving dinner, and of course we all overate, because that's what you do.
Well, not everybody leaves at 8. Like, I stayed at my parents' house.
No, I said over 8.
Well, past 8, at 8, either way, I'm just saying I stayed.
So when I got home, I ended up with a fever, which was like the only time I had a fever throughout the whole thing. But like that kind of killed my Thanksgiving spirit. But it was a really good Thanksgiving otherwise.
There's a Thanksgiving spirit?
And I heard that you had a good Thanksgiving too, because there was a 45-minute long rambling of you telling everybody about how great your Thanksgiving was.
Yeah, I think
also lobster is not Thanksgiving.
Lobster tail is Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. The Pilgrims.
No, I know that. I know that. I just said lobster's not.
Well, so is lobster.
I was agreeing with you.
Lobster is also. The Pilgrims ate lobster.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I heard that somewhere. Someone told me that.
I have no way of disputing that, so it must be true. And now that it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Definitely has to be true. Well, I'm glad it was nice. I'm sorry that you're sick. You should see a pharmacist. They might be able to help you.
I know. If only I knew one.
I know, right? Well, listener, I did not do a whole lot this weekend. I went to a company party for large company in Chicago, PwC. It's like a 5,000 person party. They rented out the Field Museum, and there was a live band. It was really good, and like open bar everywhere, very high end hors d'oeuvres, very fancy schmancy.
I don't think I've ever been to like a big shindig like that with a completely open bar, so you can just go there, order whatever you want.
Oh yeah. I mean, the party probably cost them. It definitely cost them 6 figures.
That is incredible.
Yeah, but it's PricewaterhouseCoopers, so they're really big. I mean, they had 3,500, I think, employees in Chicago, and they're all allowed to bring a date.
Yeah, I believe you.
So it's just one of those. And I do not work. My company, they were explaining that there's about 150 employees per floor in their building, and my company's about 180 employees total. So
it's a big company.
Yeah, big. But that was crazy. But I just wanted to say about it, my favorite part was when someone asked, "Where's the dessert table?" The response was, "Oh, it's on the other side of the dinosaur." Because there was literally a dinosaur in the middle of the party.
It seems like a weird thing to be in the middle of the party.
Where else would it go? It's not going to be it's not going to be a wallflower. How many dinosaur wallflowers do you know?
I mean, I can't argue with that. But I guess my question is, why is there a dinosaur in the first place?
It was at the Field Museum.
So that's pretty sweet then.
Yeah, like a real dinosaur. A real live dinosaur. Actually, the largest Tyrannosaurus Rex
that's living
in captivity. Yeah. Not to be confused with Brodus Clay, the only living, breathing Funkasaurus, and one half of Tons of Funk, the WWE tag team, that we're all a huge fan of.
I don't even know what you're saying anymore.
Okay. All right. But literally the dessert table was on the other side of the dinosaur, and the dessert's really good. So it was a good time. So let's get ready to talk about video games.
What'd you play?
What? Well, you're not going to talk.
What didn't you play?
You're not going to talk at great length about what you played. First of all, just before I get into my stuff, because I'll talk more than you. Did you play stuff that you will talk about, or are we just going to talk about me?
You know what? I didn't play basically anything. I have gotten I have fallen down the rabbit hole now of ranked matches in League of Legends.
Oh my god.
Which is where it's basically a ranking system where you can kind of rank up through their they're different leagues. Like, so you start at bronze, and then you move on to silver, gold, platinum, and then diamond. And the level of competition typically makes the games much more even when you play it.
Yeah.
And which I've said before when playing these games, if the matches are even, they are like the most fun gaming experiences that I have. So I have been doing a lot of that with whatever free time I get with gaming. And the other kind of weird thing I've been playing is I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy V on the iPad.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
So I was turned on to this, right? Listener, if you don't know anything, excuse my cough for a second. If only I had a cough button like Cody's mic. If you don't know anything about Final Fantasy V, it was not the first Final Fantasy to introduce the job system. I think that was 3.
That was 3.
But it was arguably the first to perfect the job system. And the reason I say perfected is because I was turned on to this fundraising thing that happens once a year, and I cannot remember what it's called now, but once a year, like in June, this guy puts on a fundraiser where he starts the Final Fantasy V marathon for everybody, and he sets up a Twitter bot, and you start playing the game, and every time you reach a crystal with the job set, you send the Twitter bot a message with the crystal that you just reached, and the Twitter bot gives you a job, and that is the only job in that crystal that you can use. And there's a bunch of other optional rules that you can do for the game. There's one where by default berserkers are turned off because it's not an easy class to play with, but you can request the Twitter bot add those in to the random crystal thing. But anyway, I was reading about this and it sounded awesome, but we're still 6 months away from it, and I forgot I really like Final Fantasy V. Dirty little secret, I've never actually beat it because I've gotten to the same point every time in World either 3 or very late 3 or early 4 where the game has just seemed to be very difficult. And I've only ever played it when I was older, and so I don't have nearly as much patience as I did when I was a kid. So I just kind of give up on it and go play something else.
You didn't feel like grinding?
Right. So I started playing it again, and the reason why I say it may have perfected the job system is because according to the message boards and the people that follow this contest, there hasn't ever been a combination of jobs that somebody has not been able to beat the game with. Now that doesn't mean that you average Joe gamer who does this contest will be able to do it with this job set, but there has never been a combination of jobs that somebody has not been able to complete the game, which is really impressive because this game was made in 90. It may have even been earlier. No, it was probably around 92, 93.
Yeah,
94.
Yeah, because Super Nintendo was 92, right? 91 or 92, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, it was forever ago. And it's a super awesome testament to the game design. The game is surprisingly well designed for a game that is that old. That is possible. So I kind of challenged myself at first when I was first playing to pick one job and just use that job, and then you can multi-class between the different jobs and stuff. But it got really difficult because I used a random number generator to figure out what job I was going to take, and I ended up getting no healers. So in that case, you have to use items, which requires a lot of gold. Which I didn't have a gold engine. I didn't have a thief or something that I could use to steal stuff and sell it. So it was too difficult. So I gave up on that. But I am looking forward to doing this contest in the summer, and I am going to do it this summer. Now that I know about it. So it's weird how much I've played. I've already played 11 or 12 hours since the last time we talked of Final Fantasy V.
Wow.
And I'm already into the third world, which there were 4 in that game. And it's really fun. It was a really solid Final Fantasy game.
Do you like it better than 4?
Uh, young Jonathan would say no, but
Okay, let's break it down. Gameplay, do you like it better? And story, do you like it better?
so the story in 4 is better, but the gameplay I would argue in 5 is much better because there's so much customizability that your party is going to look completely different from my party at the end of the game, and we're both going to be able to complete the game, and I think that's really neat. Um, and there's some weird synergies that happen between the different classes in the game. It's really cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I was really, really turned off by it because of the difficulty when I played it. I played it on Game Boy Advance, like, a while ago.
That's arguably like that and the iPad versions are arguably the best versions, apparently.
Well, I started playing it on Final Fantasy Chronicles or Origins, the PlayStation re-release.
With the horrendous load times.
Yeah, with the atrocious load times.
Yeah.
Yeah, listener, if you're not aware, like it would literally take 3 seconds to open the menu on the world map. So real, like just debilitating. I mean, it was unplayable. It was literally, it was figuratively it was really hard to play. Unplayable. There was a high level of unplayability.
Sure.
The degree to which it was playable was low. So I think I was not a big fan of the difficulty. But you are a hard mode kind of guy.
I kind of am.
So yeah, there you go. That's good.
So I've been having a lot of fun with that, and then like I said, playing ranked League of Legends, which there are frustrating moments and there are incredible moments, but it is such a well designed game.
I'm glad. Are you going to become a pro player?
Young Jonathan would try to become a pro player, but old Jonathan will not. But I am kind of anxious to see how far I can get within the league system. As of right now, I cannot break the bronze barrier. So, and I was starting to feel like I was getting pretty decent at the game, and then I started these ranked matches, and it's like, no, you're still not very good at this. You still have a lot to learn, really. But it's so weird because like I can watch other people play the game that are in the higher brackets, and I swear to God, I'm playing just like them. I swear I am. But then I get into the games, and it's very obvious that I'm not. Very, very obvious.
Yeah. I wonder how far you can get without kind of making the game your life. Have you run into any players? The other thing is, it's such a team-based thing. Have you run into any players who have become regular teammates at all, or talked to anybody?
I actually have made friends with a couple of people that like play a specific role in the game that complements my role, and so we can queue up for these matches together. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and what role is yours for the listener who is aware and of the League of Legends world?
Yeah, so I am maining. My main role when I play the game is support, which is in the standard metagame. It's a champion that sits in the lane with your ranged damage character that your team is going to have, and both prevents them from dying and helps secure them kills so they can get more money, so they can get better items faster. So the support role doesn't do a lot with like killing the little minions that are out there. The support role is more about kind of controlling the battlefield a little bit, is typically how it works. So that's just the role that I've like kind of naturally settled into, that I really enjoy. And so I have made friends with these range damage people that are good at that role, and so together we kind of make a lane and we complement each other well, and it works out really well.
That's cool. Good. I'm glad.
It's fun.
I'm glad you're having fun. There is still a shortcut to League of Legends on my desktop. I've just never clicked on it before. Maybe someday.
I think I actually had the same experience when I first installed it, but once I started, it was tough to stop.
I think that's kind of what I'm afraid of. So, see, because I'm single, and if I fall down that rabbit hole as hard as I think I will, and I could become a young John with this, then I'll always be single. So you already have a wife, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true.
It's really no relevance to anything. But that's going to be my excuse. So there, we're going to stick to it. Actually, is that it?
Yeah, that's like I said, that's it.
And I don't want to tax your voice any more than I already have, John.
I appreciate that. So the rest of the episode is just going to be Cody talking, listener, just to himself.
Yeah, John is actually just going to hang up on our Google Hangout right now.
All right, good talk.
No, that's not true, because first you have to riff on what our listeners have been playing this weekend. Oh, did you watch the 3-part South Park episode, by the way?
I did. It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal, but I really was hoping for a swerve at the end where they end up getting a Wii U.
I love the commentary on video game delays and everything. And
Yeah.
the fact that they brought up their own game, it was perfect. It was really good. It was really good, and there was some great bad Japanese in there.
Oh man, the Japan scenes were amazing.
I was crying. I was laughing so hard in the Japan scenes during that episode. So, listener, if you didn't see South Park and you like South Park and you didn't see the Black Friday episodes, go watch the Black Friday episodes because they're all free online. They're really good.
Yeah, southparkstudios.com. So they're available. They have like weird dates. Like they're available right away for 3 or 4 days after it airs, and then they like lock it out for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's available again. So you might be able to watch part 1 and 2 now, but not 3 yet. I don't really know. But hey, guess what? There's stuff on the internet that's not technically legal. You could probably find it somewhere. Not recommending or suggesting that. I'm just saying, where there's a will, there's a way, really.
But you'd need to see this episode is really what it boils down to.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's that. And moving on to our listeners and what they were playing this weekend, we had 4 comments on our question asking what you were playing this weekend. So we have over 1,000 people following us on Google+. So that is a 0.0... It's a low percentage of response, which means that we appreciate the 4 people that responded times 1,000. So we appreciate each of you 4,000%.
And that's a lot of percents. You should know that.
It is so many percent. So for the 4 of you, and actually, just incidentally, the 4 people that did comment happen to be, I think, probably our most consistent commenters and interactors. And we really appreciate all 4 of these people. So without further ado, this weekend, Nora was going to play some Portal. I don't know if that implied Portal 2 or the original Portal, but...
Both are solid games.
Both are solid games. Jamie, our on-the-field Google Plus correspondent, was playing some combination of Xenoblade Chronicles and Mario 3D World.
Okay.
Which, jealous, because Xenoblade Chronicles, that was the game that became a $70 game at GameStop, right?
Oh my god, that game is so good.
Right. So it went on sale. It was on sale at GameStop on Black Friday. Of course, it sold out almost immediately, I guess, from a lot of locations, and I couldn't get it online, but it was really cheap for a while, I'm pretty sure. So I'm jealous. And I've also heard that Mario 3D World is just supposedly insanely good.
So a little Santa bird told me that I should be getting a Wii U for Christmas along with Super Mario 3D World.
Oh, really?
I am pretty darn excited about that. I haven't played a good platforming Mario since Super Mario Galaxy. I never even played 2.
Yeah, you will probably like it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm very excited. So that is a weekend of quality gaming, definitely. Our fan John is going to start playing Arkham City on Steam, which is funny because that's what I'll be talking about this episode.
Okay.
So I know you were going to say something, but hold that thought. We'll discuss. And Justin is playing The Last of Us. Good on you. Great game. Maybe John will follow suit sometime. And he said,
I'm sorry, what game?
I'm going to cut you. And he might try the Hero's Quest. Oh, in Link Between Worlds. So I also beat Link Between Worlds. This is a great transition. I also beat Link Between Worlds this weekend.
Okay, so first of all, then what's the Hero's Quest in Link Between Worlds? Because you never mentioned that.
Sure. So in Wind Waker HD, I talked about hero mode, right?
No.
Hero mode in Wind Waker HD is you can activate it or deactivate it anytime you load the game. So if you start on normal difficulty and it's not hard enough, you can switch to hero mode. When you have hero mode activated, enemies do not drop hearts and they do double damage. So the only way to replenish your energy is potions and fairies. So yeah, so that was the higher difficulty for that. Now, I believe it's similar in Link Between Worlds. I remember because I beat the game and it said hero mode's now available. It's harder. I don't know if it's exactly that. I don't know if it specifically is enemies don't drop hearts and they do more damage, but I know it's a similar thing to basically a hard mode. Basically, hard mode is available as soon as you beat the game. So that's available. Our friend Blake actually played Wind Waker HD on hero mode, but he made a good point that it makes the beginning of the game incredibly frustrating.
Oh, sure, because you have, three... You basically have 3 hits to Link before you're dead, right?
Yeah. You have 3 hits and no bottles. And no fairies, and no nothing. So I think that's cool that in Wind Waker HD, they have it as kind of a thing you can toggle, because that way you can maybe do the first few dungeons without that, and then kick into hero mode once you, have a way of managing your health. Link Between Worlds, I'm not sure. The game did not feel short to me, but it certainly is not. It's not a Final Fantasy length epic. I'm considering replaying through it already, just because I have a 3DS XL. It's new. It's the only full game I have for it. I asked for Pokemon for Christmas, so I've got a few weeks. So I may do hero mode, but I'll have to report back. But I thought Link Between Worlds was quite easy, honestly. So I think it may be more worth it in Link Between Worlds. But
Which is really interesting because in the last episode you said that you found the game difficult.
Did I?
You did. So you said you were finding the game difficult. So you must have turned a corner or something.
Yeah, I turned a corner. I think after the first few dungeons, and then it was... Honestly, the second half was mostly a breeze, except for something they did, a gaming decision they did, that I'm not happy with, and I think you'll agree.
Does it have something to do with the last boss?
No, the last boss was awesome.
Okay, because I've also read that the last boss was very difficult.
Yeah, I loved that. No, the last boss was very difficult. It was super awesome. I mean... very difficult in Nintendo terms. I still had 3 bottles with fairies, so it's not like I was in a lot of peril, but I took a lot of damage. So yeah, it was challenging and it was really fun battle. So I like that a lot. So if you've ever played Link to the Past, listener, you know that actually, I'm sorry, John. We're about to go into a Zelda rabbit hole. I'm sorry. This is gonna happen.
That's fine.
So
that's fine.
So if you ever played Link to the Past, you know that once you get the first 3 pendants in the game, the structure is you get 3 pendants to get the Master Sword, then you go to the Dark World, and there are 6 crystals you have to get, 6 or 7. You get each of those and save the sages, and then you go fight Ganon. Great. This game, very similar structure. You get the 3 pendants in order, and then you get access to Lorule, which is the mirror version of Hyrule.
It's the Dark World.
Essentially, yeah. It's even got the same music. But you go to Lorule, and in Lorule, there are 6 or 7 that you have to get, 6 or 7 stages. And the cool thing about this game, which we've discussed, is that you can do the palaces in any order because the game is set up so that you rent, and you can actually buy these items. There's the shop where your house is, this guy will lend you an item if you pay him, and then if you die, then he gets the item back and you have to pay him to check it out again. But once you've rented everything, then he just says, oh, okay, you can start buying stuff, and then you can buy things from him. That's why I had so many rubies, because I had 7,000 rubies after the first couple dungeons. Well, to buy an item is between 8 and 1,200 rupees. So that's why that happened. And then you permanently have that item. So if I buy the bombs and I die, I still have my bombs. There you go. So this game, much like Link to the Past, because actually Link to the Past, you don't have to do all the dungeons in order either. I remember when we were kids, specifically beating some of the palaces out of order just because I knew you could, and I thought that was really cool. I don't know if you ever experimented with that at all.
I think the only ones you could do were you could flip 3 and 4 in the Dark World. That was the only one I can remember altering the order.
There might have been one more. I don't remember exactly right now.
Okay.
But there was some... for them to have any flexibility, I thought was cool, so why not? So, in this game, there's none of that. Like, I had literally no idea which palace was going to go first, what would go second. And there's still a big treasure chest in each of these palaces, right? Each of the big treasure chests contains kind of an upgrade to your character that you don't have to get. You can skip these chests, right? So I go to, one of the palaces and I get the blue mail, which cuts my damage in half when I take. Great, I got the blue mail. Didn't have to get that to beat the game, but okay. And then in another palace, I got some ore that would help me upgrade my sword. But you need 2 ores to upgrade your sword. So in 2 of the palaces, you get ore, you bring it to the blacksmith, you upgrade your sword, it turns red, just like Link to the Past. You get 2 more pieces of ore and 2 more things. Upgrade it to yellow, just like Link to the Past. Cool. And, there's one that, like, boosts your magic meter. So these are all things that help you in the game, but they're not absolutely essential, right?
Okay.
So the very last palace I get to, like everything else in the game, you get out of dungeons. You just kind of get around the world. You get the sprinting boots from Kakariko Village, some random dude. You get all the items from the guy you rent from. Great. Well, I found at the lumberjack's house, you find the glove that lets you pick up stones and throw them. You get that like right away. I got it like right away. I think before I even went to Death Mountain the first time. But it doesn't let you pick up the larger ones. You remember Link to the Past, they had the gray stones and then the
black stones.
Yeah, the black ones. This game is different. There's only gray stones, and this glove lets you lift only the small ones, which means you have to get another mitt for the large ones. So I get to the final dungeon of these completely out of order dungeons that I had done in a randomized order, having no idea what belonged first, second, third, fourth, any of that. Get to the final one. I'm halfway through the dungeon, and I need the Titan's Mitt. And I didn't have the Titan's Mitt. So I immediately exited the dungeon and started looking around for it. I'm like, maybe you get it from this mini game. Maybe you get it from talking to this person. And I just killed like probably 3 hours just searching for the Titan's Mitt. There's also a mini game where there's this giant squid thing called a Mai. It's Maimai. I don't know. And the Mai lost her little Mai babies, and you can go and do this optional thing to get the Mai babies. And every 10 Mai babies you get, she'll upgrade one of your items. So she'll turn your boomerang into the magic boomerang. Or she'll turn your arrow into a triple arrow, so 3 arrows shoot out. Or she'll make your bomb radius bigger.
Or she'll upgrade your glove
No.
into the Titan's Mitt.
Well, that was my thinking. You see where my brain was there. I had upgraded several items, so I'm like, oh, maybe I have to find some Mai. So then I spent some time looking for Mai. And I had noticed this weird thing where, like, I'd find 10, and then I would be able to select 2 or 3 of my weapons to upgrade. But then I'd bring her 10 more, and the options in my memory were different. I was like, oh, I thought I could upgrade my boomerang, but it's not telling me I can. I can only upgrade these things. Okay, whatever. I'll just upgrade one of those. That's what I recalled. So, due to my terrible memory and immediate rage quitting of that dungeon when I realized I needed the Titan's Mitt, I wasted all this time. Go back to the dungeon. Guess what's in the chest in the dungeon?
What?
The Titan's Mitt. And I was unhappy because it wasn't hard to find, but I had just left as soon as I realized I needed it because the game had set up my expectation based on the order of palaces I took that I would only be getting non-essential items in the dungeons. And that wasn't the case, and I was very frustrated because of it.
So this was the only dungeon in the game where you get an item in the dungeon that you need to use to complete the dungeon?
In the Dark World, yes.
Really?
Yes.
That is a bad design.
And I
Because of the expectations in which you're talking.
and that's what I'm saying. And to anybody else that did this dungeon before last, because like I said, there's literally no order. Like you can go anywhere.
Sure.
In low rule, like there is no reason why it should have been the last one. It's not the hardest one. It's not the hardest one to get to. There are no other barriers of entry to get there. It just kind of happened like that. So I know there are some Nintendo fans listening that will be like, well, it's your fault. And it partially is my fault for not being as good at the game as I should have been. But I was really frustrated because, like you said, and I knew you would agree with me on this, I was a little annoyed that the one thing you like actually need to progress is only in one dungeon and all the rest of the chests are totally optional.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It would be one thing if there were like 3 or 4 dungeons out of all 10 of them where it did that, because then, but like you said, your expectations had been set in a certain way, so that's why it's probably not the best game design.
Yeah,
is because your expectations had been set in a certain way, and then rather than like naturally, like if they were going to change something, if they were going to change your expectations, it should have been something that you naturally fell into, and that you couldn't miss.
And
right.
And to be fair, once I went back, basically there was a room pretty much next to the room where I had left the dungeon that I could have gone to that would have taken me to another floor to get the treasure chest. So it wasn't hard to get from where I was, but when I realized I needed it, I left because I didn't think it would be there.
Right, no, but you know what you do in that case? You set up the room as a puzzle, you set up the large stone as the exit to the room, and after completing the puzzle, in the same room as that large stone, you get the Titans met.
That's true.
That's how you fix that.
That's true. And I think I'm probably in the vast minority, and
you absolutely are.
I'm not bashing this game. It was an awesome game, and no,
but you can be critical of the things you love.
Yeah.
That's okay. That is okay.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the one thing. So, listener, just keep in mind if you play it. This is really more for you than for me. I mean, I'm not trying to just whine about it. I'm just mentioning that in an otherwise exceptionally good game with a great soundtrack, very good use of nostalgia, excellent addition of new features, all these things, it is nitpicking. It is absolutely nitpicky. So do not think I'm trying to give it. I mean, I would still give the game a 9.5 or a 10. I'm not destructoiding this game. I think that's one minor thing. But I also know if you haven't played it and you get in that same position as me, I probably just saved you a bunch of time. I also probably spoiled a bunch of stuff, so I apologize for that. But there's also a lot of stuff I didn't spoil. So I did really want to bring that up specifically. Other than that, though, it was a pretty enjoyable experience. But I read an article, I watched a video. So you've never watched Game Theory, have you? The YouTube series?
Is that the one where it comes up with like possible like conspiracy style?
Yeah, the one that's like
is
Mario a communist? Is Mario evil? The last one I saw was Dr. Wily isn't really the bad guy in the Mega Man games, stuff like that.
Okay.
So anyway,
I have watched like 1 or 2 of them.
Okay, I am subscribed. I watch every one as soon as it comes out. Matt Pat is the guy that does them. I think he is great. I might invite him onto our show. I have no idea if he would say yes, but it's a great series. He's coming up on 1 million subscribers, so he's reaching YouTube celebrity fame now because that's a big deal. But there are a couple other shows on his channel, and one of them, it's Gaijin Goomba. It's somebody in a really high pitched like helium-y voice with a Goomba kind of teaching you random stuff about games. It's kind of like Game Theory, but a little bit different subject matter. But they addressed Zelda and the open world aspect of it, and it was super interesting to me. And I think you might find it interesting too, because if you think about the first Zelda game, the original Legend of Zelda, rewards you for exploration, and by giving you rupees and by having all these hidden caves where you can find things, and you could find the dungeons in any order. Like you could. I mean, that was truly the most nonlinear Zelda game. I think that's I don't think you can possibly argue with that, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Probably right. And this video was basically just talking about how it's interesting that, I guess during development, Nintendo's stance was, well, Mario is a very linear game, and we're also working on this thing called The Legend of Zelda, so we want to do something totally nonlinear to kind of separate the two. And that's where that came from. But Link to the Past then, Zelda 2 tried a different direction, so we'll pretend that didn't exist, but then you get to Link to the Past, and not only does it have you do the first 3 dungeons in the Light World in order, but when you get to the Dark World, the dungeons are numbered.
Yeah, it does. It goes so far as to number the crystals on the world map.
Yeah, which is the opposite of exploration. And it was just an interesting shift for the series. And I think, to a degree, Link Between Worlds is a bit of a return to the original, parts of the series. I don't know that it necessarily does as good of a job of like that rewarding the exploration aspect, because you've got a map basically. Because the thing is, the Legend of Zelda, you boot that up, you are standing in a blank screen and you have no idea what's happening. You walk into a cave and suddenly you have a sword, and then you walk around and you try and remember the map. Link Between Worlds, Zelda tells you what to do, and then this guy talks to you about lending you items, and then you have a world map available to you, and you can put pins on it, and X's mark the spots where the palaces are. So it brought back the nonlinear style from the first game, but the exploration aspect, I don't think we'll ever really get back in a Zelda game or in a lot of games, just because of the way that these heads-up displays are so sophisticated,
I don't know if they are, but I don't know if you can ever kind of really do that again,
Yeah.
Like just with modern game design. I mean, maybe it'll eventually move back towards that way, but just modern game design is kind of not about that.
Yeah, then that's what I'm saying. It's just kind of interesting. I'm not trying to argue for or against any of it. I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. And that really reminds me of Fez, because Fez brings you back to your old school roots in that it's really not linear at all. The puzzles are very, very abstract, and it's got a very Legend of Zelda feel. So, listener, if you're a huge fan of the original Legend of Zelda, which I'm sure you're not because that game was hard as balls, go ahead and pick up Fez. Probably for $1 on Steam, because that's what the Steam games go for. And that's how I felt about Link Between Worlds. So, are you going to get it, do you think?
I probably will.
Really?
I think so. I mean, it seems really good. I mean, from what everybody is saying, it's really good. So, yeah, I will probably end up getting it at some point. And honestly, Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda game.
Oh, really?
Without a doubt.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's not even close in my mind.
Well, okay. It does a really, really good job. It's not just a cash-in, though, for nostalgia. I mean, it really does a good job of actually, adding to it. And the soundtrack is so good. Dude, I was listening to the soundtrack at work, 2 days last week. Just the soundtrack. It's a really good soundtrack.
I mean, it's mostly old tracks, right?
Yes, but, remastered in a very good way. But catchy, it's good. It's good. So, there's my follow-up to the Link Between Worlds review. I feel like I had one more thing to say about it. Oh yeah, Kenny was dressed like Princess Zelda.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So they did at least have that nod to Nintendo. Thank you, South Park. So transition. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you for that. Batman Arkham City is what I just finished playing. You bought it for me.
Yeah, I did.
On Steam. And I completely realized this 10 minutes before we started recording. Brian, the guy I work with on my terrestrial radio show on WGN, Brian bought me Arkham Asylum on Xbox 360 for Christmas when it came out. And now my co-host for my internet broadcast bought me Arkham City.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, just really, really random, obscure, totally inconsequential coincidence, but I just thought it was kind of, I don't know, I just thought I'd bring it up.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, super random. But, so Arkham City, what I loved about, so I'm not a big Batman guy. Are you a big Batman guy, John?
So I wasn't until the Arkham games.
Yeah.
And then like they were so well done. Specifically, Arkham Asylum, I think, is just awesome.
Yeah. Did you like the animated series when we were growing up?
No, I never watched it.
Really? Why? You just
no reason in particular. I just wasn't interested in it.
Interesting. Okay. Because I saw a lot of it. I was more of a Spider-Man guy because it was more flashy and kind of upbeat. And I mean, Batman's dark. Batman's inherently a dark character. His parents were shot in front of him when he was a kid, and then he fell into a cave or some variation of that, and there were bats, and he basically is insane and fights criminals who are literally insane and then throws them into an asylum where they're insane. It's very dark.
It is kind of dark. Quite.
So I've never disliked Batman. I've saw the original movies. I still think Jack Nicholson is underrated as the Joker, by the way. I mean, I get it, Heath Ledger knocked it out of the park, but dude, Jack Nicholson, come on. He did fine. Anyway, so that said, I've never been a huge Batman guy. I am with you, though. I became a much bigger Batman guy after Arkham Asylum because it was so well done. And I wasn't...
Yeah,
and I wasn't ultra familiar with the Batman brand, but everybody knows a bit about Batman. What I loved about Arkham Asylum, and I'm guessing you'll agree, is that the gameplay makes you feel like Batman. You get that?
I think that's absolutely. I mean, like flying through the air, stalking people, like the stealth. I think the stealth is really well done because like Batman's a big bruiser dude.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's not like small and slight like a ninja or something. So like the stealth for him, I think is very well done for like big bruiser dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the game flows incredibly well, which is my favorite thing about Ninja Gaiden, which is my favorite action game really ever when I'm feeling super sadomasochistic because that game is insanely hard. That and the second one. I love how smooth it is and how much it flows. And Arkham Asylum, like the countering system, the smoothness is ludicrous. You can be in the middle of a move and a guy comes at you and a little kind of exclamation point, some squiggly lines appear above their head, and then you hit a button to counter, and as soon as your move finishes, you break immediately, grab the guy mid-move, whatever he's doing to you, and then do a specific counter based on that particular movement that guy was doing. Like, when I played the first Arkham Asylum game, I was like, how do they do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that free flow combat is really strong.
Yeah, just the animations even of being able to be that specific with it. So I agree. I loved Arkham Asylum, and I thought it continued with Arkham City, and it's been oh god, well it must have been 3 or 4 years since Arkham City or Arkham Asylum came out. Couldn't have been more than 5 years, 3 or 4 years ago. So I hadn't played it in a really long time, and this game, I thought, felt pretty good. It didn't feel ultra familiar. I wasn't like, oh yeah, totally like riding a bike. But when I relearned the mechanics, it made sense. Very open environment. Listener, the setting for this is basically somehow various people were able to pass this asylum deal so that instead of just having Arkham Asylum, they basically just section off a huge chunk of the city, and that is Arkham City. So they just throw criminals in there, and they basically live in their own little criminal city within Gotham City, which is ridiculous. It's really stupid premise.
It's pretty dumb.
But in the context, oddly...
But Arkham is a dumb city, so...
Gotham City's the worst.
Gotham's a dumb city.
Oddly, in the world of Batman, it fits. Like, it doesn't feel stupid, unless you think about it. And from a game design perspective, how do we make it so Batman can free roam around a city? Gotham would be too big, and they couldn't have criminals just overrun it, because then thered be... logistically, this made sense. So I get it. So it all makes sense. So you're in Arkham City, which means there's a lot of exploration. I think they do a great job of making it feel open world. When I was reading some reviews and some discussion about Wind Waker HD when it was re-released, a lot of people brought up the point, well, Wind Waker is one of the best Zelda games because it was so open world. You know, you can sail anywhere. You can get off and swim around in any part of the ocean. You can get on any island. And no load screens was a huge deal because it just was very seamless. And I felt the same way about Arkham City. I mean, you're essentially Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man web slings around. You're just using a grappling hook. Same thing. Why don't you ever have to change the tip on your grappling hook? I grappled into 45 different buildings, and that steel claw or whatever is still working? How does that work?
Because that would be dumb.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point, John. That would be dumb.
It would be dumb.
Okay.
I mean, you don't want to have to change your grappling hook in the middle of the game. That's stupid. You just want to keep being a badass Batman.
That's true, and they do a good job of helping you feel like a badass Batman. So the difference between this and Arkham Asylum would be much more open. I wouldn't say it's necessarily non-linear because there is a story that flows through the entire game. But they introduce several side missions. Like, for example, I can't remember the name of the phone killer. I just did this. I just did this today. But one of Batman's nemeses calls people on the phone he'll call you on a payphone. Say he's threatening to kill hostages. You have to locate that payphone within Arkham City, answer it, and then he gives you a certain amount of time to find the next one. And then you have to trace his call just by following a little dot around the map while he's having kind of delivering a monologue. So you pick up the phone, it brings you the map screen. You have to kind of follow his movements with a little cursor to triangulate his coordinates while he's talking about his character. So it's cool because it tells a story. It's telling his story. It's further character development. You're still engaged by moving stuff around, and it's very open world, and you can set waypoints on your map to kind of direct you to exactly where those payphones are and things like that. So that's the kind of side quest that you'll run into. Bane is in the game, and Bane, the giant, super roided out version of Bane that's 9 feet tall, 11 feet tall or whatever, Bane has this Titan formula. And in this game, he's like, I'm over the Titan formula. I don't want it anymore. I need you to destroy all the Titan containers. So you go around Arkham City destroying all the Titan containers. And some of them, you can make it one of those, I'm going to stop progressing in the storyline and just do this right now. Or you can just play through the game, and when you're near one, take it out as you go. And there are 16, I think, major side missions that kind of thread throughout the entire game that you're able to kind of just, do when you feel like it. They give you extra experience points and things like that. There's also the Riddler trophies. And they had the Riddler trophies in Arkham Asylum.
And they were awesome in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, they were great. I don't remember the big difference. They're basically puzzles. I mean, they're puzzles. You have to throw your batarang.
The big difference is that there weren't 7,000 of them.
Okay, I thought this was going to be your complaint too, because I know you said when I brought up Arkham City on our episode a few episodes ago, you said, yeah, it was okay, and then we'll talk about it. So I already know you don't like it as much as Arkham Asylum, and I
did not like it as much as Arkham Asylum.
Okay, I had a feeling because you're right, there are a zillion Riddler trophies in this game. It's
there's 250, I think.
There's a lot. Oh, it's so many. It's so many Riddler trophies.
Yeah, I think there's 250.
Well, and this is where I think the game it really shines. The amount of sheer content in this game is absolutely unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It's especially if you get the Ultimate Edition, which is what you got me, which comes with DLC. There is so much in this game. There's so much to do. So earlier today, I beat the game, right? I beat the game, and then the story continues, and you're able to complete your side missions, and they add some things. and you get to play as Catwoman a bit. You actually do play as Catwoman earlier on in the game for a brief amount of time later in the game, and then the kind of post-game, I guess, kind of focuses more on Catwoman. So I don't know if it's a whole nother game, essentially, that I'm starting, or what is in store, but I beat the game as Batman. It rolled the credits. He, strolls out for the happy ending or whatever. Credits roll. Boom, I unlocked New Game Plus. Boom, I unlocked this thing. And I'm 49% complete with the game.
Wow.
And I had completed, a few of the side quests. And I'm thinking maybe the number's a bit skewed because of this downloadable content, but 49% done. And I beat the game. No, actually, it was when I quit playing today, because I beat the game, played for another 3 hours, literally just getting Riddler trophies and finishing side quests. Like, I did a Mr. Freeze-related side quest. I completed the phone call side quest. I progressed further in a couple other ones. Still, 49% done with the game.
And you probably played for a good long time. Like, you probably got your money's worth in terms of playing, right?
I have, yeah. I feel like I've got my money's worth. Well, we were talking about, how smooth the combat is and the flow and everything like that. And my God, I want to play as Catwoman more, because she is just so... Her animations are even a little bit quicker and a little more elegant and a little more fluid, being a smaller female. And, the things she does, whereas Batman will drop down and grab a guy in a headlock and choke him out, she, drops down, twists her legs around their head, squeezes their head with her legs, and then twists them. She's a very Xenia Onatopp about it, and she's really fun to play as. So I got my money.
Sorry, what did you just say?
Xenia Onatopp.
Xenia Onatopp
from GoldenEye.
I don't. Oh, right. Okay, gotcha. Yes, understood. Carry on.
Which Xenia did you think I was referring to?
Look, I know lots of Xenias, so that's why I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Too many Xenias?
Way too many.
Okay, sorry to hear that. Well, anyway, she kills people with her legs, and it's good, and you have a whip. You have far fewer options, obviously, as her, because she doesn't have a utility belt, and she's not a Playboy millionaire. But you've got a couple toys to play with, and I mean that in a totally non-sexual way, although I would love to have sex with Catwoman, honestly. Kind of. I'll get to that more later. Yeah, you heard it. I'll get to...
Why would you get to... Why are we getting to that
You'll get it later. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to play as her more, but honestly, and so when you exit the main game, you've also got a side mission mode. You've got these challenge maps, not really maps, but these challenge modes where you get dropped into a room with 40 thugs and you have to see how fast you can beat them. And they give you 5 different rounds. You have to do different moves to get different point values and try to beat high scores and things like that. So that's almost its whole other game in itself, just focused on combat. And in that, you can play as Batman, Catwoman, or Robin, and I think one other character, Nightwing.
You can also play as Robin. I didn't even realize that they had done Robin DLC for that game.
Yeah, I've got Robin DLC and Nightwing DLC. Who I don't know anything about Nightwing, but whatever. So, I haven't even played the game as Robin at all, or Nightwing. Who cares about Nightwing, really? But there's 2 characters I literally haven't even played as on these challenge deals. And then there's a section where Harley Quinn has these post-game challenges for you, and I've avoided it because it said this DLC contains spoilers. So apparently she, for the storyline of the game, she does a thing where she's giving you additional things to do. I don't even know what that game mode is. And they have a New Game Plus, which raises the difficulty, gives the enemies better weapons, and removes the counterattack exclamation points from the opponents.
So you just have to know the animations?
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
I think it's a bit intense for me. I probably won't do New Game Plus, because I'm never going to finish the full content in this. I've got still a zillion Riddler trophies to get. So there is just so much content. And with the price of this game on Steam, this is one of the best gameplay experiences and value for your money I think that you can find. If you like this game, if you liked Arkham Asylum and you can get this game for $5 or $10 or even $15, you will have 50 or more hours easily of gameplay, because the story probably took, what would you say, maybe 20, 25?
Yeah, it was something like. I mean, it wasn't that long.
Maybe
It was long.
Yeah.
It was long for like an action game, I guess. But
Yeah. Maybe 15 or 20. I don't know offhand, but it's a good size narrative. It flows well. I don't think it drags out at any point. I think if anything, it could have been a little longer. But with all this DLC, it's so I thought it was a very good experience. So tell me what you didn't like about it that made it inferior to Arkham Asylum to you.
so one of my big problems with it was I thought that the actual traversal was it started to become a little too much for me to traverse the entire city to get to the places that I wanted to go. And maybe if I had like kind of split it up by doing some Riddler trophies here and there in between, and I think I know I did all of the side quests, but maybe doing the Riddler trophies would have split up the traversal a little bit. But there were occasionally parts where I just felt like I was going, and like even if you end up getting good at the traversal, you can still mess it up and kind of stall yourself out.
Like how?
And then it, like hitting a building, not grappling to the right hook or something like that, and then falling down.
Okay.
So it kind of destroys the seamlessness of that traversing the environment. It's been a really long time since I've played it too, so I don't remember everything. But it just the awesome thing about the Arkham Asylum was that it was just this really small, self-contained thing. So like, it was a very guided story experience, whereas this one is a little more open, which is good, but I thought that they didn't execute as well as they did in the first game is kind of what it boils down to for me.
Okay. I can kind of see that. Like, Catwoman, I hate traversing with Catwoman. Because you see, with Batman, I don't know how you did it. Batman, you just kind of spam the right bumper, and it basically kind of auto-detects anything in front of you need to grapple. So I found it somewhat easy to get from place to place. Occasionally, I would accidentally bump into a gang of like 6 people with guns on the roof of a building, and they'd wreck me and sometimes even kill me before I can even get past them, and then I have to restart. And I'm like, what the hell, really? I have to like start 4 buildings back just because ran into a random pack of dudes I didn't feel like fighting. That's stupid. But other than that, it was smooth. But Catwoman, when you grapple on something, she kind of arbitrarily does some random flashy flips onto a couple things, and then a green dot appears, and you have to time it so that when the green dot reaches a certain size within another green ring, you hit the jump button and you kind of jump into that. So there's like a timing element, and you have to do like 4 or 5 jumps sometimes to finish a grapple. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit more tedious and manual. So I get that. I didn't feel so much what you're saying with Batman, but I will agree. I mean, if you had to go across the map, sometimes that was kind of like, really? I have to go across the map again?
Yeah, like all the way across the map. It just, I don't know. It's a minor complaint. It's really not that big of a deal, and I really liked the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't think it was as good, is all.
Sure. I think that's fair. And you're really looking forward to Arkham Origins, right? Because you were told that it's more similar to Arkham Asylum?
So I'm kind of looking forward to Arkham Origins because it's, from what I understand, it's all about combat. Like, it's basically they've taken out a lot of the other stuff and they just have way more combat in it, which is arguably the best part of the Batman game.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that because I like the combat rooms, you know?
Yeah, I like when I get in the combat. I think there's a good amount of challenge, at least on the difficulty level I played. I think there were certainly plenty of rooms I had to replay. I don't know about you. Like
I said, it's been a really long time. I don't remember.
Did you ever die?
I'm sure I did.
Okay. I died somewhat regularly, so I think the challenge is at a good level. So getting back to having sex with Catwoman, because I know that
Okay.
you were really highly anticipating this. I absolutely, like, cannot stand when she talks.
So, what does that have to do with having sex with
So
her?
if I had sex with her, it would be very, very angry sex. And
Because of her talking?
And yeah, because of her talking. Oh man. Oh boy. She's everything she says is in a very, very overplayed, smartass kind of condescending, like every line. It would be like, "Aw, that's too bad, John. I didn't mean to hurt you." Or, "Aw, that's too bad. How'd you feel about this, big boy? Did I cut you? Aw, that's too bad." Like, everything is in that kind of tone, this, like, smug, bitchy, shitty way of talking, and I cannot stand it. I cannot stand it. It's like, it makes the game unfun, and this is totally a preferential thing, but my God, she's nice to look at, but I don't want to hear her talk.
That's so funny.
That sounds terrible, but they got
I mean, originally they had that Catwoman DLC on day one, and so there, like, listener, if you never played it, there was a little bit of controversy surrounding the release of this because, like, you could only get the Catwoman DLC from GameStop or something, and there was some weird pre-order stuff. But the Catwoman DLC is just like at various points throughout the game, various story moments, you play as Catwoman and do like Catwoman missions. Now, I think since then they also added more Catwoman. Is that right? Or are there?
Well, I mean, there are the couple story points, far fewer than I expected. I mean, you have her for a hot minute at the start of the game, and then like a really brief period, like right at the end of the game, and then that's it. So don't spend all your money or all your experience points upgrading Catwoman, because it will completely go to waste, listener. For the most part. But like I said, now post game, she shows up and she's like, "I need to get my loot from Two-Face." Then Batman shows up and he's like, "I'm gonna help. I'm Batman. I have things to do." And then she's like, "Okay, Bat. Okay, if you can keep up." Stuff like that. I want to kill her. So, and then from that point on, now that I've beaten the game as Batman, I can switch between Catwoman and Batman. But I don't know how much Catwoman content there is. So what were you saying? Like, what's your understanding of it?
So I don't. Catwoman wasn't supposed to be like a focal point. So it's a kind of a bummer that she has that the voice acting kind of ruined it for you. But she was just supposed to be kind of like icing on the cake in terms of the game. It does completely change the opening of the game, though, if you don't have Catwoman there. Right? Because I mean, she opens the game, so I don't even know how the game starts if you don't have Catwoman.
So if you don't have the DLC, you don't play as her at all?
Exactly. Isn't that weird?
What?
Yeah, and that was the controversy surrounding this game when it first came out, because you could only get the DLC. You could either pay $10 for the Catwoman DLC, or you could like pre-order from GameStop or whatever, and it was a pre-order deal.
That's really weird. Like, I don't even know how you...
I know, because she's actually slotted into the story.
Yeah.
Like, she affects the story of the game.
That's so bizarre. All right, well, okay. Well, since it's a whole DLC package, maybe that changes the whole post-game game? Like, I don't know. I'm 50% done with the game and I finished as Batman. Does that mean is Catwoman 10 of my remaining 50% or 50 of... I don't know, I mean, she's not 50 because I have 500 Riddler trophies left to get, but that's so strange. So
I know, it's bizarre.
So you did not have the DLC.
I had the Catwoman DLC.
Oh, you did. Okay, interesting.
But that was the only one that I had, and I know since then a lot of DLC has come out.
Okay. Well, listener, I will follow up because I plan on continuing to play this game, which is not really super normal for me. But I've beaten it, and I still feel like there's quite a bit left. Like, there's still quite a bit I can enjoy from this game.
I mean, I do have to say, like, some of the coolest stuff is when you are traversing the environment and you just see, like, a pack of bad dudes, and you use your, like, to slam into the ground. They've give you like this slam into the ground move to start the fight, and you just slam yourself into this giant pack of bad guys and start beating the crap out of them. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's not a beat 'em up game that makes you feel as badass, I think, as the Batman series. You feel so badass when you are using their combat system.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Gaiden, to a degree. Again, Ninja Gaiden 2. Not the third one, because that's garbage. But you might be right, though. This would even give that a run for its money. You really do feel like a badass.
Yeah.
You're right. So it's very good. It's very smooth. And the voice acting for the most part is phenomenal because they use mostly voice actors from the animated series. So you've got the guy that does Batman from the cartoon. They have Mark Hamill as the Joker, who we all know is spectacular as the Joker. And they get the Harley Quinn voice actress. I'm not familiar enough with the rest of the voice actors to know if they are spot on or not. But, I mean, Batman, Joker, and Harley, like, who cares about anybody else, right?
Yeah, that's true, but I agree with you. I do remember the voice acting being really good. And I don't remember there being a problem with... I don't remember there being a problem with the voice acting for Catwoman.
And the voice acting it's fine. It's just the character. It's
the writing.
You can blame it. I'm not saying the woman doing it's a bad voice actor or the writing is even bad. I hate that character.
You're just saying that women shouldn't be voice actors.
I hate the character so much. I hate the character in this game. I hate her portrayed in this game so much because everything she says pisses me off.
You're saying that women don't belong in video games in any capacity.
Oh, I will. I will tell you one thing that happened. So this will be a minor spoiler if you have the Catwoman DLC. So I apologize. Very minor spoiler. Optional spoiler. This is not a main game spoiler. So if you have the Catwoman DLC, at one point some crap like collapses from a building and falls on Batman, and it switches to Catwoman's point of view. You're Catwoman. You're burgling something, whatever. You're stealing something, and then somebody pops on the TV and she sees Batman's incapacitated, and there's a green arrow painted on the floor going left and a red arrow painted on the floor going right. Just like in the environment. You can go left, and she's like, should I save Batman? He's a big boy. He can take care of himself. You know, just that stupid, smug, stupid attitude. She's like, no, you'll hate yourself if you leave him, though. No, you can't just go. So at this point in the game, you can go left and save Batman, or you can go right and like leave Arkham City. And it kind of says that some of the objectives update in the corner, and it says that. And I am playing as Catwoman, and I'm thinking to myself, she's super bitchy. She's kind of a terrible person. I didn't like her in Dark Knight Rises either, by the way. So I've never been a Catwoman fan as a character. I'm like, she's super bitchy. She would leave. She would totally leave Arkham City. That's it. She's done. I'm done. So I walked right, and I had her leave Arkham City, and the credits started rolling. And I was just like, are you kidding me? The game ends and Batman dies if you walk out as Catwoman? So I'm sitting there and the credits are rolling, and the designers did something really cool and clever here, I thought. While the credits are rolling, you hear audio of Commissioner Gordon putting out a distress call. He's like, they've overrun the city. Anybody out there, help, help. He's not with us anymore. We don't have any Batman. Anybody that can hear this. And he kind of basically gives this, Joker's won. The Joker's done it. I can't believe it. Or whoever the bad guy is at that point. I don't know. He's done it. He's taken over. It's the end or whatever. And it's kind of like over. And you're like, oh my God. So, okay, that happened. And then the image on the screen pauses and it rewinds. You know when you used to rewind on old VCRs and the bars would go up and down? It like rewinds the credits and the scene to when Catwoman makes that decision, and then you turn left that time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought it was cool that it didn't like end roll credits and then take me to the title screen, because I would have been really annoyed.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I don't think I did that. So that's kind of an interesting little Easter egg type thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, listener, if you have the chance, go ahead and do it. Ultimately, you'll end up going left, but I thought it was kind of fun the way that they did that. And she sucks. Catwoman sucks. Because I hated her in Dark Knight Rises too, because she's just smug. She's a smug asshole. She really is. As a person.
That's kind of her character.
I know, and I don't like that. And, you know, she would do stuff in the movie, and, oh God, I saw it with a girl, and she was like, yeah, girl power, when she did it. And I was like, that's not girl power. That's her being an asshole. Like, seriously, just, I'm all about empowering women, but, like, she's not it. She's just a dick. That's how I feel about it. I really don't like Catwoman.
Don't be a dick, damn it. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a dick.
And speaking of empowering women, I still was struck, and I'll say this for any female listeners that we have, they're not. Every criminal in Arkham City calls women a bitch. Every single one.
They do. It's pretty like apparent. And for people that don't like, for people like me that don't normally pay attention to that and notice that, I remember that pretty clearly.
Really?
Yeah, like it's they're pretty. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
And
it's almost gratuitous.
I honestly agree. And I think that's a big miss, because a lot of girls are crazy about Batman. And it's funny because it's really the only swearing they have in the game. I mean, they throw out a couple other minor, like, a-hole or damn it and stuff like that, but that's the worst offender. And every time any character refers to Catwoman or any female hostages or like this news reporter you encounter, they all just call them bitches. And it's like, I think that's a shame. I think it was overwritten in that respect. I don't think they needed to go there. I don't think that accomplished anything.
Yeah, and the weird part is it's like just the thugs. Like you said, it's just like the thug encounters. It's not like main villains that are doing this.
I think Two-Face did it to Catwoman in some of the post-game content.
Okay,
maybe.
And don't think I.
But for the most part, you're right. Yeah. But it's so that was kind of a shame. So female listeners, if you're a huge Batman fan, I mean, I really recommend the game. I apologize in advance for that, but I recognize that as not really doing a whole lot for us video gamers as a culture. So that's annoying. Oh, I wanted to say one more quick thing about the game.
Say one more quick thing.
One more quick thing. I don't know why the Penguin has a Cockney accent in this game. One of my coworkers is a big Batman fan, and I was like, is the Penguin Cockney? And he's like, no, the Cobblepot family's lived in Gotham for decades. Just throwing that out there. I really didn't like...
Come on, inconsistencies, guys. Come on.
I didn't even care about that. It's just such an overdone... It's like my really, really bad impersonation of a British person. It's so over the... It's so Cockney. It's just like, he's Batman. We're going to get Batman. He's bad there. We're going to get him, and the Joker's not going to know what hit him. It's honestly that bad. Honest to God. And it's stupid, because he's not, like, why did you do that? No one needs to hear that.
That was a really good British accent, by the way.
No, but that's honest to God how the Penguin sounds. I'm not even, like, that was legit right there. So, other than the Penguin's voice acting I didn't love, and I hate the Catwoman as a person, great game, pick it up, good times. And now John's going to talk about last week, because apparently we all live in the past.
So no, it's not even that big of a deal. I was just going to say that we talked last week about the Nintendo eShop and like digital sales.
Oh yeah.
And I was just saying, why doesn't everybody just copy Steam in terms of what they do? And our field reporter Jamie brought up the point that Nintendo does do sales, and that they are occasionally games on sale on the eShop, right?
Yeah.
So that was brought up to us on Google Plus. And I just wanted to say, to further elaborate, that my point is not that there aren't sales, because I'm sure that there are. Just like on Origin, which is the way that EA does their digital services online, there are occasionally sales as well. My point is that when you log on to Steam, what is the first thing you see?
What's on sale?
What's on sale? You see big old colorful buttons with screenshots of games. And then you see their original price, and you see a cross out, and you see a sale price. My point is that why doesn't every other digital marketplace use that format? Because it is incredibly successful. So that's more of my point. I'm sure that there are sales stuff, but if you want people to buy stuff that's on sale, don't bury it places. Like the Xbox free stuff that they were giving out. Like, they didn't advertise it anywhere, right? You had to, like, find out about it from another source, like Twitter.
Oh, actually,
and then go...
I have an update about that. I wanted to bring this up in the episode. The free games of gold for Xbox Live right now is Gears of War.
Like the new one?
No, the original.
The original?
The original Gears of War?
Like 2004 or whatever?
Is that not okay with you?
I mean, it was good.
I never played the campaign, so this is my chance, right?
Yeah, sure. No, that's sure.
Okay,
yeah.
so yes, it's another 10-year-old game, but I saw it on the Xbox 360 dashboard when I went on to Xbox Live. Like, when I turned on my 360, underneath the big theater header, one of the first boxes on the bottom was free Gears with Gold. So they're not burying it anymore.
That's a Microsoft, not necessarily. That's a Microsoft specific product. Did it say that when Champions of what the hell was it called? Heroes of Might and Magic. Was that on the front page as well?
I don't know. I honestly, yesterday I needed a Rock Band 3 fix. I don't know why. Honest to God, John, that is the first time I've turned on my Xbox 360 in 2 months, maybe 3.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters. My point is that my original point, it just what I want to reiterate is that just why not copy the Steam? Just fucking copy it straight up. Just straight copy. Like, Humble Indie Bundle, right? We've talked about that on the show before. They just came out with a store. Humble Indie Bundle just came out with a store where they do, like, sales on individual games and, like, daily sales, just like Steam.
Yeah.
Guess what the Humble Indie store looks like?
Steam?
Exactly like Steam. It looks exactly like Steam. It's fine. It works. It's effective. All I'm saying is do that. You'll sell more stuff. Like, broadcast it wide when you're having a sale on something. Have daily sales. That shit works.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that. I agree. And I was only elaborating on Games of Gold because that was a specific complaint you had about them, is where do you hear it? And I complained about it too. I have no idea these are on sale. But apparently, maybe they have been for a while, but they were on the front page.
Yeah, but I was just looking at Nintendo's eShop. It doesn't look like that at all. So
yeah, Nintendo's eShop does not. You're right. They don't promote the sales. I don't think the way they
that's all my point. That's really the point that I was making. It's not that the sales don't exist, because I'm sure they do. It's that they don't do a good job of letting the people know the sales are there to take advantage of.
Yeah, Sony does a good job of that on PlayStation Plus.
They do. That's usually the first thing you see when you look at their marketplace.
Yeah.
But I mean, Steam has it so right, it's ridiculous, because you in order to boot into a game, you have to start Steam. Well, when you start Steam, you start on the catalog page for buying stuff. So you cannot start the games. You cannot start games. You can. I mean, you can do, shortcuts on your desktop or whatever. But if you want to launch them from Steam, like probably 75% of people do, you have to see the catalog sale stuff, right?
That's a good point.
That's all my point is. That's the only point I was trying to make.
That's a good point. And in that regard, actually, Sony kind of fails, because if you want to see what Sony has on sale, you've
got to go to their shop.
You have to open the store app, essentially.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the number of games that I have bought on Steam just because of that fucking catalog page. looking at the front page and being like, oh my God, it's marked down 80%. I'm losing money by not buying this.
Yeah.
And then I buy it, and then I don't play it. And it's like, well, you got my $3, you assholes. You did it again. You did it again. So yeah, it's very effective. I think it is very effective.
You're right. No, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Microsoft, you see some of their sales and things like that right when you open Xbox Live. It's never I've never been compelled to buy anything. And sometimes they do this price slash. They'll say, like, watch this season of Battlestar Galactica for $1 off on this obscure, arbitrary, proprietary movie app that we have on our system that you can't utilize anywhere else, even though you can probably watch it on Netflix for free. I mean, it's more noisy, but they at least have the infrastructure that allows for them to use what Steam is doing. I think
I want to let you know you really sold me on that just now. I'm sold. I'm sold on that proprietary video app.
Good, me too. I'm gonna go watch it right now. For my second day play, I'm gonna post some of my my Rock Band 3 high scores from the weekend on our Google Plus page. So get ready for that. Did you see them on Facebook?
No.
Yeah, they're up there. They're up there.
I believe
it was not impressive. When you haven't played Rock Band for like 2 years or so or more, apparently those skills go away a little bit.
That's also understandable.
Yeah, no, I sat around playing Rock Band 3 for like 2 hours by myself. I don't even know why. I even bought a song, and I don't remember which song, because, so you know the Games of Gold, you can log in on your computer to Xbox Live and then just add the download to your queue. I haven't turned on my 360 for 3 months, so I had like 25 gigabytes of games in my download queue.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because I had Gears of War, I had Heroes of Might and Magic, I had Halo 3 was one of the Games of Gold, and I just wanted it just in case I need a Halo 3 fix later, which will never happen. But, you know, like, I had all these games lined up. It's like, it hasn't even downloaded yet. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I have $45 in Microsoft points. Like, what the hell am I going to do with that?
I don't know.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend's parents got me like $50 in Xbox Live points 3 years ago. And I think I got another gift card after that, and I haven't even, I'm over $40 still. So there's that. So I derailed that conversation. You're right, Steam sales are the best. Their marketing, I think, is effective.
Yeah, and my only point, again, just to reiterate one more time, my only point was just all of these other market services should all just do it the same way. And it's fine. Like, concede that is the effective way to do it and do it that way.
But, John, all the consoles have different goals.
Yeah, is that true?
The Xbox is there for your seamless entertainment needs.
Oh, man, you're so right.
While Sony has the superior sharing and power capabilities.
I need to start playing some of these games that I bought. I really do. I've got this big backlog, and here I am playing Final Fantasy V on my iPad. I mean, it's like, what the hell are you doing, Jonathan?
Oh, I just reviewed a game that had a sequel come out a month ago.
Yeah, there's some talk that they're going to try to annualize that, though, so that's not necessarily the worst thing. And Arkham City was still really good.
Wait, annualize?
Yeah.
The Batman games?
Like, yeah, and that's silly.
I mean,
it's pretty sad.
It's a who did that to go to those games?
I mean, Rocksteady did the original, but it's Activision.
I knew you were going to say Activision.
Well, I mean, it's either Activision or EA.
God,
they're both like equally guilty of doing that.
Activision ruins everything. Ugh.
They like money, like most companies.
Fine, whatever. Speaking of Activision ruining everything, I'm not going to tell the story now, but holy crap, my computer will not run on Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oh, what a bummer!
Yeah, so it
just won't run it.
Nope, graphics card isn't good enough.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though it is. My graphics card is the one listed in their minimum specs. Which, I realize it's minimum specs. Every other spec far exceeds the minimums, far exceeds some of the recommended specs for this game. However, the one thing, the video card, nope. And if I want to get one that meets the recommended specs, it'll cost me $300.
Did you try unplugging the router, waiting 30 seconds, and then plugging the router back in? It's called power cycling your router.
Oh my god. I didn't power cycle my router.
So, whenever I have a problem,
yeah,
like, bad phone call at work,
yeah,
I power cycle my router. So to do that, you unplug the router for 30 seconds,
okay,
and then you plug it back in. It's something called power cycling your router, and typically that fixes the problem.
Okay, hold on, I'm writing this down. So you unplug it like from electricity?
Right.
Okay.
So you take it, you unplug it from electricity. You wait 30 seconds. It's called power cycling your
Okay.
router.
Now, when you
And then you plug it back
when
in.
you unplug it, do you unplug it from the wall or do you unplug the back of the router part?
I do both, just to be safe. Because what if there's some residual electricity left in the cord?
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that. So I unplug both. And I power cycle my router. And that typically fixes all the problems.
Okay. So do you want the time to be as close to 30 seconds as possible or anything after 30?
I think it's just at least 30 seconds.
So but do you think it would
Let's not be silly. I think it's just at least 30 seconds.
Well,
You don't have to time it to exactly 30 seconds.
Well, no, I obviously not, but like do you think it's more effective if you unplug it for like a full minute?
I think that it is equally effective beyond 30 seconds.
Okay.
But it must be at least 30 seconds.
Okay.
It's called power cycling your router.
Okay, this will fix my graphics card, right?
It, like I said, it fixes most problems. It's most of them that it has fixed for me aren't even computer related.
Wow.
I know.
Are the tablet related? Like iPad related?
No, a lot of them aren't even computer related.
I gotta power cycle me some routers.
You do. It typically works.
All right. Well, good. I will do that. And I'll let you know if I ever get that graphics card. Which
Working.
I will not anytime soon because I'm out of money.
Sad. Well, listener, as usual, we appreciate you spending time with us here in our abode of podcasting. Do I sound sexy like this? Like, is this a voice I should keep?
The one that's sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, stay sick as long as possible.
Yeah, no, that sounds horrible, actually.
What, staying sick or your voice?
Both.
Your voice is more soothing. I like it because it's not as, because normally your voice is like really like not in a bad way, but abrasive, kind of jarring,
kind of not good,
uncomfortable.
But not in a bad way.
Though.
No.
I know. It's not a criticism. It's just a kind of a Oh, wait, I thought I had a thought. I didn't.
Well done.
I was going to say I'm happy it's snowing, but it's kind of too late to say that.
Yeah, the snow kind of sucks in Minnesota, so...
Oh, but it's so little like so. That was my impression of you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Spot on.
Spotify?